Hello everyone, welcome to Lesson 7, Industrial Organization of chaebol. Last week we covered key structures and traits associated with the Korean chaebol, and then we compared the similarities and differences between the Korean chaebol and the Japanese keiretsu. And lastly, we examined the role of the Korean chaebol in Korea's economic development. This week we take a closer look at the industrial organization of the Korean chaebols. In today's lesson, we cover three main topics. The first topic is chaebol governance structure. The second topic is the characteristics of professional management. And the third topic is work environment and culture. Now let's spend some time talking about chaebol governance structure. Chaebol governance structure mainly refers to the family ownership and management that we talked about last week in Korean chaebols. In industrialized countries, ownership and management are not closely linked. Usually diversified shareholders own the corporation, which are run and managed by professional managers. However, in less developed countries, owners usually control the corporations in a variety of forms. For example, in the Korean chaebol, the chaebols are usually owned by one family and also managed by the family members. The owner is also the largest shareholder. In many of the Korean chaebols, the founding members or the founders of the chaebol are relatives. And ownership of the Korean chaebol is often passed down from the founder to the firstborn son. Moreover, the owner delegates key managerial positions to close friends, family members, and relatives. In other words, the management structure is highly interpersonalistic. Most important posts belong to close friends, family members, or relatives. When going through the reading materials, please take note of the various forms of family ownership that exist among the Korean chaebols, and also pay attention to the investment relationships among the subsidiaries. The second topic we cover are the characteristics of professional management. Here, we stress the underdevelopment of professional managers in South Korean chaebols. One obvious reason for the lack of professional managers in South Korea is the fact that ownership is primarily concentrated in one single family. Other reasons lie in the conditions in which chaebols were first established. Due to the high emphasis on close relationships between the South Korean government and the owners of each of these chaebols, there was really no high demand for professional managers. Another characteristic of professional managers in the South Korean chaebol is the lack of female professionals. The reading material and the lecture notes will cover more of these characteristics in detail. The final topic we cover is work environment and culture. Work culture is heavily dominated by Confucian principles. And by Confucian principles, we mean the emphasis on nationalism and harmony. For example, companies believe that the company interest is also synonymous to national interest, and harmony among workers are heavily stressed. In this section, we cover 7 traits associated with work culture in the Korean chaebols. The first trait is the centrality of work. What we mean by this is Korean workers are often asked to sacrifice a lot for their companies. Work comes before personal life. This is very different from Western cultures where individualism is stressed. The second key trait is group harmony. There is heavy emphasis on maintaining very good, conflict-free interpersonal relationships in the work environment. The third characteristic is the importance of personal relationships. Not only do they stress harmony among workers, but personal relationships dominate business. For example, major deals are often conducted informally through personal relationships or connections. 4 is paternalism. Paternalism explains and describes the relationship between subordinates and superiors. You can sense there is more of a hierarchical relationship going on. Fifth trait is the fact that job descriptions are more general in the South Korean chaebols. So unlike Western corporations, where there's very fine and specific defined job responsibilities are often blurred and more flexible in the South Korean chaebols. Six is the heavy reliance on nonverbal cues. And seven is a heavy reliance on decision-making process where the top executives make most of the important decisions. So this goes back to some of the traits we talked about last week about top-down decision-making. By the end of this lesson, you will have gained an extensive understanding of the industrial organization of the Korean chaebols, as well as the work environment and culture. When going through the reading materials, please take note of the following keywords: governance structure, professional managers, work environment, management culture, and Confucianism. These 5 words should be the benchmark and the guideline through which you go through the reading materials and lecture notes. I hope you enjoyed this week's lesson, and next week we'll visit the topic of corporate strategy and global competition. Thank you.